My name's Barb Janeuschitis, and I'd like to share with you how I incorporate Find a Grave into Family Tree Maker. I've been researching my family seriously since 2001 after I retired. I've used Family Tree Maker from the beginning, and I currently use FTM 2017, and I sync my file to Ancestry. In this presentation, I'll go over how to add a memorial number ID, the URL, screenshot, and the photo from the Find a Grave memorial page into Family Tree Maker. I'll also go over my profile and talk about favorite cemeteries and virtual cemeteries and how to become a volunteer for Find a Grave and take photos for others. In Family Tree Maker, I've created a custom FAQ called Find a Grave Memorial Number with a short label of FAG. The FAQ is just a description field, and this is where I copy and paste the Find a Grave Memorial Number. I've added the FAQ to the editing panel on the People workspace, and you can see on this record the FAG FAQ is on the editing panel.
Whoa! Let's quickly review how to create a custom FAQ and customize the editing page for quick entry. You can create a custom FAQ in two ways, either of which opens the FAQs database window. From any page in Family Tree Maker, click on the Edit menu tab and scroll down to Manage FAQs. This opens the FAQs database window. This opens up the custom FAQ window, and within it you enter your information, decide whether it's an individual or a shared FAQ, whether you want time and place or description only as part of the field, and then click OK. Now, as you can see, when you look at your list of FAQs, the Find a Grave, your custom FAQ, has been entered. Alternatively, while entering any FAQs on a person page, click on the blue plus sign to add a FAQ, and the same database window opens, and there you can enter a new custom FAQ. For this, you need to be in the Tree tab for your ancestor. On the right-hand side is the Quick Entry panel. At the bottom is the Customize View button. When you click on that, the Customize View dialog box opens with your list of FAQs, and Find a Grave is among them. Highlight the Find a Grave FAQ and then click on the right arrow button to move it over to the panel, which will be those that you see.
Now, when you add a FAQ to the editing panel, it will appear on everyone in your Family Tree Maker database, so you don't have to add it every time you're working on a record. However, it will not appear on the Persons page until the FAQ is valued. So on James Snoddy's page, there is no Find a Grave Memorial Number FAQ because it's not valued. When I find a Grave record for my ancestor on Ancestry.com, I download it to Family Tree Maker, and on this person's record, I've downloaded a Find a Grave record, and it's attached to the burial FAQ. So if I go to the burial FAQ and click on Sources, you can see that there's a Find a Grave index source citation from Ancestry. And if I click on that, you can see that the citation is linked to 4 FAQs: the birth, burial, death, and name. Now on the source citation, there's also a web address. If I click on the little world icon, that will take me to Ancestry, to the Find a Grave record that I downloaded. On this record, there's a URL that will take me to Find a Grave, and it will take me directly to James Snoddy Snedden Memorial. His name is Snedden on the memorial because that's the name on the tombstone, but it's the same person. Down here, there's under the memorial ID, there's a number that's unique to James Snoddy, and I'm going to copy that either from the memorial down here or up in the URL, whichever it's the easiest for you to copy. And I will go back to Family Tree Maker and go back to my tree and my editing page, and in the FAG field I'll copy or paste that memorial ID number. Now on the person page, if I go there, I'll find that the Find a Grave memorial number is now completed, and there is a fact for that because it's now valued. The next item I'll copy from the Find a Grave memorial is the URL address for the memorial. Using my browser, I'll go back to James Snoddy's memorial in the Find a Grave website. Up at the top is a URL. I'll highlight that and copy it. I'll go back to Family Tree Maker. I'm on the tree page. Over on the right-hand side is the editing panel. On there, there's a button that's called Web Links, and I'll click on that. There's a button there that's called Add a New Web Link, and I'll click on that. Gives me a screen that has a field for the web address, and I'll copy the web address, or I'll paste the web address that I just copied from the memorial in Find a Grave. I'll give that link a name. I'll call it Find a Grave Memorial. I'll click on OK. And now I have a link embedded in Family Tree Maker to the Find a Grave Memorial. On this editing page, you also can edit that link by clicking on the little pencil. You can delete the link, or you can go to the selected web link by clicking on the little world icon. You can also go to use the link by clicking on the icon next to the name. I could have also added the link on the person page. On that page, there's some tabs, and one of the tabs is called Web Links. Now, our Find a Grave memorial is already there because I added it on the editing panel, but we have the same capabilities on this page to add new links, to edit them, to delete them, and to go to the selected web link. So if we click on that icon next to the name on Find a Grave Memorial, that will take us directly to James Snoddy's memorial page in Find a Grave. The next thing I'll copy from the Find a Grave memorial is a screenshot of the memorial itself. Using my browser, I'll go back to James Snoddy's memorial in the Find a Grave website, and they make it very easy for us to do a screenshot. In the middle of the page, there's a little button that's called Save To. I click on that, and there's an icon that says Copy to Clipboard. I click on that, and it tells me that this memorial has been copied to your clipboard. I'll X out of there. I'll go back to Family Tree Maker, and then I'll go to the person page, and I'll find the Find a Grave Memorial Number Fact. Click on that. I'll go to the Notes tab under that fact, and I'll paste. That will give me a copy of everything that was on the memorial page for James Snoddy. Now I'm going to download my ancestor's tombstone picture that's in Find a Grave and attach it to his record in Family Tree Maker. I'll do this by clicking on the Web Links icon in the editing panel, and that will give us a list of the web links that we have. I'll go down to the Find a Grave Memorial and click on the icon next to that. That will take us to my ancestor's Find a Grave Memorial. And we can see there's a couple of pictures on there, one of the tombstone and one of an obituary that someone has uploaded. If there was no picture of the tombstone, we could request one by clicking on the button that says Request Photo. That will take us to another screen, and if we click on Send a Request, we can see that they'll send an email to each of the 74 volunteers that live nearby this cemetery, and they will request a photo for us. Since we already have a photo, we'll cancel out of that request. Now, you must be signed into Find a Grave to have the ability to request a photo. I'll click on the photo that's on the tombstone, and that'll take us to another page that gives information about the person who uploaded the photo and the date that the upload took place. If I click on that person's name, I'll go to his profile page in Find a Grave, where we can learn a little information about that person. I'll click on the back arrow to go back where we were. If I click on the arrow on the right-hand side of the page, I'll scroll to the other pictures that are on the memorial. In this case, we have the obituary. And if you'll notice down here on the left-hand side of the screen, there's information about the newspaper that this obituary appeared in. That was added by the person who uploaded the photo, Barb Janeuschitis. We'll scroll back to the tombstone photo. If we click on View Original, we go to the original photo as it was uploaded into Find a Grave in the original size. And it's from here that I'll download the photo onto my computer. I'll right-click, I will save image as, and I'll give it a file name. Now you'll notice that I already have a picture of the James Snoddy's tombstone in my file folder, so I'm going to cancel out of this request and not add another one. I'm going to navigate to File Explorer to that picture, and you'll notice that in Windows 10 I have the detail pane open, and I have that because I'm going to add some metadata about that picture in this area. I'm going to put some tags in. I have Tombstone and Genealogy, Snoddy. I have a title of the picture, and I'm going to make some comments. And in the comments field, I'm going to put in information about the cemetery, the location, some information about the memorial, and the person who uploaded the original photo. I'll click Save. I'll go back to Family Tree Maker, and I want to upload that photo into my Family Tree Maker file. I'm going to attach it to my burial fact, so I'll go to Person, and then I'll navigate down to the burial fact. Now I want to add a source citation for that picture before I add it to my file. So I'll click on the Sources tab, and this will be a new source citation, so I'll click on New, and I get a screen up. Now I want to use the template that Family Tree Maker provides for source citations, so I'm going to click on New. And then in the source template field, I'm going to start typing cemeteries. And as soon as I start typing that, I get a list of source citations that relate to cemeteries. And I'll go down to rural locations, grave marker, and this means the cemetery is located in a rural area, and I'm going to cite a grave marker. So I'll choose that. Then I'm going to put in the name of the cemetery, the location, in the Access Data field, you can add any information that will help you locate that cemetery, such as driving directions or GPS information or anything that would help you find it if you were in Pennsylvania. I'll click on OK. And there's the information that I entered in the other screen. The citation detail information, I'm going to put in grave marker for James Snedden. Now I put in James Snedden and not James Snoddy because that's the name that's on the tombstone. Now I'm going to add the media, the picture, to this source citation. So I click on the Media tab. I click on Attach New Media, and that takes me back to File Explorer. And you may have to do some navigation to find your photo that you downloaded, but it's right here for us, nice and handy. So I'll click on that and click on Open, and it appears in my source citation. So now I'm going to click on the photo. You can see on the right hand side the information that I put in File Explorer has carried over to Family Tree Maker. There's the caption, that was the title that I input. The date, since it's 2005, is probably the date this picture was taken. So I'm going to keep that date and take out the time portion of it, because if I ever decide to go to Pennsylvania and look for this tombstone in Beechwood Cemetery, then I would know that it may look different than when this picture was taken in 2005. The next field is categories, and I'm going to put in a category by clicking the Edit button, and it will be a tombstone, and I'll click on OK. I categorize all of my media items because I can locate them easier in my documents at a later time. In the description box, there's the information I entered in File Explorer, the name of the cemetery, location, and the memorial information. That information will all upload to Ancestry if you sync your tree to Ancestry.com. Now I'll get that down so you can see the bottom, and I click on OK. And now I have a source citation with the photo attached for the burial fact for James Snoddy. Now I don't have a picture of James Snoddy, so I want to use that tombstone picture as his portrait. So to do that, I'm going to right-click on the portrait, and I'm going to click on Link to Existing Picture, because I now have that picture in my data file in Family Tree Maker. And under Media Category, on the drop, I'm going to click tombstone, and the tombstone pictures are categorized by their caption names. So I'm going to look for Tombstone James Snoddy. There it is. I'll click on it, click on OK, and now I have a portrait for James Snoddy. One of my favorite genealogy websites is Find a Grave. I've incorporated many of its features into my family tree maker file, and as a result of my activities in Find a Grave, I've received many contacts from people also researching my family. Anyone can use Find a Grave to search the database's records by searching on the name or the memorial ID. But to get the greatest benefits of the website, you need to create a free account. And you do that by clicking on the Register button up at the top of the page and completing the information on the next page that you get. Once you have an account, you can add memorials, upload photos, request photos, submit and edit requests, leave flowers, and volunteer to take pictures for others. I have an account, so let's go to my account in Find a Grave. This is my profile page in Find a Grave. Up at the top of the page, there's a little bit of information about me. It gives my Find a Grave ID number that every member has in Find a Grave. My email contact. I've created an email in Gmail that I use primarily for genealogy. Over on the left-hand side is a small bio of me, and I've given the surnames of the people that I am researching. And I've also given permission for people to download any of the photos that I've taken and posted on Find a Grave. In the center banner, there's a place called Messages, and you can send and receive messages in the Find a Grave, via Find a Grave in the profile page. Under Contributions is Suggested Edits, and Suggested Edits is a way to contact other memorial owners to add or correct information on a memorial. So if I click on that, it will go to my suggested edits that I've either received, suggestions for me, or suggestions I've sent. There are none pending that for received, but there's several that I've accepted. And to give an example, under Ada Bevan, I took a picture of her tombstone at Union Cemetery and posted it, and all the information I had was her birth date and her death date, which were on the tombstone. LFK suggested that I add her actual date of birth, where she was born, the date of death, and the death place to the memorial, which I did on the 15th of November 2014. The next item is memorials added. I have 281 memorials that I've added. These are primarily family members, but when I go to a cemetery to take a photo, I take photos of the tombstone surrounding the one that I'm interested in, and when I get back home, I'll check Find a Grave, and if there is no photo on the memorial for that person, I'll add one. Or if there's no memorial, I'll add a memorial for that person. Below that is memorials managed. Managed means you have editing rights and are the owner of that memorial. It's higher than memorial added in my case because I've requested transfers of family members from other people on Find a Grave. Memorial per week is something that Find a Grave has added, and it has no meaning for me. Photos added, I've uploaded 404 photos to Find a Grave. I have 6 photo requests outstanding, and I've taken 6 volunteer photos. The next item on the list is flowers added, and you can see that I have 83. You can add flowers to any memorial in Find a Grave. I use them primarily as cousin bait. If we go to Hiram Carpenter here, Hiram is my great-grandfather. And if we scroll down, we'll see that I've added a flower in memory of my great-grandfather. So if someone comes along who's also researching Hiram, they can see that I'm related, and if they click on my name, that will take them to my profile page and my email contact, and they can send me a message. The next item in the list is virtual cemeteries, and I have 45. A virtual cemetery is just a collection of memorials grouped by any specification that you want. The memorials can be in different cemeteries, and the virtual cemeteries can be public or private. I have a virtual cemetery for each state in which I have memorials for ancestors. If I'm going on a trip, I can look up the state I'll be visiting and see if there are any cemeteries that would be near my travels that I would want to visit. So if I click on Arizona, I have only one memorial in Arizona, and it's in Phoenix, so I can decide when I get to Phoenix if I want to visit that gravesite or not. Going back to profile, I also have virtual cemeteries for surnames or groups of surnames. This one here has 56 memorials in it. If I click on the icon, it gives me a list of all of the people in that with those surnames. You can add a virtual cemetery by clicking on the Add button and completing the information in the fields that are there, and clicking on the Save button. There are also favorite cemeteries, and these are primarily family cemeteries. If you want to add a memorial to a virtual cemetery, you need to be on a memorial, so we'll go to the memorial of Mihaela Man Bartow. Kind of in the middle of the page there's a Save To button. We're going to click on that, and there's an icon that says Virtual Cemetery, and we'll click on that, and that will give us a list of the virtual cemeteries that we have. So then we can decide which ones that she should be added to. I've added her to Iowa because that's where she's buried, and I've added her to the Mann family. To add a favorite cemetery, you need to be on the cemetery page, and on each memorial under the burial fact there's a link to the cemetery. I'll click on that, and that will take us to the Cherry Grove Cemetery page. And kind of in the middle of that, there's a button that says Add Favorite, and I'll click on that. And now Cherry Grove should be in my favorites list. And there it is. And of course, if I click on favorite cemeteries up here, it will give me a listing of all 17 of the cemeteries I've marked as favorites. The data from your virtual and favorite cemeteries can be downloaded into a text file that you can upload to a spreadsheet. To do this, you go to your accounts page, and you click on Download Data, which is down at the bottom on the left-hand side, and then you get a little pop-up that says you can download your records to a favorite cemetery or virtual cemetery by choosing it from the list below. There's also a few instructions on how to add or remove cemeteries from your listings. So I'm going to download. I need to choose a cemetery. I'll click down on the down arrow, and up at the top of the page are all of the favorite cemeteries. Down at the bottom of the page are the virtual cemeteries. So I'm going to click on a favorite cemetery, the Cherry Grove Man Cemetery, and it asks me where I want to save this file, and I'm going to pick desktop, and I'll save it, and it's downloaded the file. I'll click on it, and there's the text file that's given me all of the information that is on the memorials that I have in the Cherry Grove Man Cemetery, and this file can be uploaded to a spreadsheet. The next item on the list is fame ratings, and that has to do with famous people. If you click on that famous button, you can browse for, search for, or browse for famous people that are on the website. When Find a Grave first started, famous people were the only people that were on the website. The next one is photos transcribed. I'm not very active in that. I've only transcribed 4 photos, but that's for people who upload their photos in batches. And if there's any that are waiting to be transcribed, there'd be a number up here under the transcribe photo button. You can become a volunteer to take photo requests for cemeteries near where you live if you want to. To do this, you go to your accounts page and then click on the button over on the side that says Photo Volunteer. And you complete the information on here. You check on email me new photo requests in my area. If you don't, then the requests will show up underneath this camera icon. So in my area right now, there are 42 requests for photos. So on some bright sunny day coming up, I can go out and fulfill some photo requests. Then they of course need your location, so you set your location either by using your zip code or pin on a map, and that goes by GPS coordinates. It knows my GPS coordinates because I've given Find a Grave permission to for my location. Then you define your search radius from 5 to 50 miles, however far you're willing to drive to take photo requests, and you save those changes. Way down at the bottom of each page, there's a help button. And when you click on that, you'll get comprehensive help for just about any subject that you can find in Find a Grave. It's very comprehensive. Everything from flowers to memorials to virtual cemeteries and your account listing and everything. There's also a little purple button that you've probably noticed, and that's tutorials. That's video tutorials. These were added by Ancestry because Ancestry now owns Find a Grave, and they're also quite good. So I encourage you to participate in Find a Grave, and I hope that's as helpful to you as it has been for me.